Hi all, welcome to our stream. Today we have Louis Jacomet, correct?
Yeah, feels
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, Louis is one of tech leads at Gradle Build Tool, who is leading support team, also release automation team. So you see him quite a lot on GitHub issues, on community Slack and other resources. And thanks a lot for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you mentioned that you have 4 hours of talks today.
Yep, that's what I signed up for. Yep, so I'm doing a session with Hervé Boutmi from the Maven community on navigating the labyrinth of dependency management. So that's a 1 hour talk. And then I also have a longer talk with Paul, a colleague, on Gradle 9 and what's coming up with that.
Okay, that's really cool. And how do you prepare to so many talks at once?
Work, right? Thinking about what you want to say, organizing it, having cool demos, making it interesting for the audience. Yeah, it's work.
Okay, that's really nice. And I wish you good luck with your presentations.
Thanks a lot.
And you mentioned Gradle now.
Yep.
So before that, I already had a discussion with Paul about declarative Gradle and a few other items he's working on.
Yep.
And yeah, Gradle 9 is a huge topic. So what are the key highlights for you in Gradle 9?
So we're trying to deliver a number of things with that next major version of the Gradle build tool. One of them is the continuation of all the work on the configuration cache. So configuration cache was marked stable in Gradle 8.1. And for Gradle 9, we want to have it turned on by default. So that means every build by default will use the configuration cache features, speeding up the whole configuration phase and making builds faster overall for users. But that, of course, requires more work on some of the Gradle internal plugins and supporting some of the use cases that we see in community plugins that are not always well suited for the current features of the configuration cache. And so we need to continue the collaboration with the community on that.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of work. And there is a ticket that has a table of all compatible plugins.
Yes.
Is this list inclusive enough, or are there other plugins we need to consider?
I would tell the community, go check it out. I don't have the issue number by heart, but I would tell the community, go check it out and make sure to list or mention your favorite plugin if it's not yet compatible.
Yeah, that's totally reasonable. It's actually one of the reasons why we have preview for configuration cache. You can enable it with one click and you can try it out. So if you have complex configurations, if you use plugins, some in-house plugins, etc., it's really a good time to check and share feedback, because it will help us to not only fix issues, but also improve APIs, improve troubleshooting, etc. So if you have seen the recent release of 8.7, we actually added some analytics for stack traces related to configuration cache that actually helps to troubleshoot compatibility issues. So yeah, this is a great feature, and I'm looking forward to that. Any other big features?
Yes, so I mean, configuration cache is great if you get a cache hit. But if you don't get a cache hit, you still have the configuration phase to go through. And for that, the next step we're looking at is isolated projects. And so the goal there is to have the ability to run the configuration phase of Gradle in parallel and caching it incrementally. And that would give us the ability to say that whenever you change build logic, you would only have to rerun the configuration phase of the affected projects. While for the moment, due to the history of Gradle and due to the mutable model it has been built upon, whenever you do a change, you effectively have to rerun the whole configuration. And so that's a project which is in a much earlier phase. And so what we're aiming for in terms of feature set for Gradle 9 is an incubating version that will be that early adopters will be able to try out and report issue and ask for more patterns to be supported and things like that.
Okay, looking forward to it. And there are quite a lot of questions about Kotlin version being used. So I saw that there is a ticket for upgrading Kotlin version. And what do you see in happening in the integration?
So normally in terms of Kotlin version with 9, given the calendar right now, we're looking to have Kotlin 2.0 integrated in Gradle. and leverage the K2 compiler as a way to speed up Kotlin build script compiling.
Yeah, so K2 is coming about in Gradle 9 or even before.
No, usually we can't do major upgrades of Kotlin outside of a major upgrade of Gradle because it has an impact on compatibility. So it will be coming with 9.
Okay, understood. And I saw that in Gradle 8.7 there was support for GroovyScript compilation cache. Is the same feature available for Kotlin at the moment?
Yes, that's always been available for Kotlin at the moment, but unfortunately the cache support for the GroovyScript compilation has downsides depending on the shape and the complexity of your scripts. So we're looking at solutions for 8.8 so that it's not always turned on by default. Exact solution TBD once 8.8 is released. Yeah, look at the release notes effectively.
Yeah, that's totally fair. And yeah, there is quite a lot of them, so check them out. Okay, so Gradle 9, when do you expect it to be released?
So it's going to be end of the year because we have one more big work that we want to deliver with 9. So Gradle has been promoting a set of lazy APIs for quite some time now. The goals behind those lazy APIs is the kind of things that Paul and I will expand upon in our presentation today, but it's really to resolve evaluation ordering and late evaluation of properties so that you can wire things as you want during your configuration phase and get the right value on execution. And so what we plan for 9 is effectively a big bang migration to that API, but in a way that will affect existing plugins and existing build scripts as little as possible. So we have plans to have some bytecode transforms behind the scene that will allow a plugin that was targeting old style getters and setters properties to transparently target the provider API effectively.
Yeah, that's really nice. Because it basically brings Kotlin and Kotlin DSL even closer to what we have in Groovy by default. And actually from user experience, it's nice.
Yeah, it's not directly related to that part. It's really about the fact that until now, we've been trying to migrate properties one by one, but that means you have to figure out another name. Then you have to introduce it. Then you have to deprecate the old one. Then you can finally remove the old one on the next major. And so it's a very long cycle. And it's also a very disruptive cycle because if you migrate a set of properties, then suddenly it's hard to integrate those newer style properties to the old style that you can find on some other APIs. And that's why with 9, we're trying to do one final larger change on that front.
Understood. And basically, it will be available to plugin developers too. So if they struggle with maintaining compatibility while evolving, they basically get the same toolkit.
That remains to be determined. Whether we can offer like the automatic compatibility for plugin authors. That's something that we haven't decided on because it has complexities. So
I understood. And another question about Java versions. So if you talk about end of the year, there will be already Java 23, maybe Java 24 in alpha. So what do you plan about Java versions?
So we try to follow them as closely as possible. When we released 8.7, we unfortunately could not guarantee full support for Java 22. So you could use Java 22 through the toolchain mechanism that allows you to compile, run tests, and run a number of tools like that. But we have a dependency on both Groovy and Kotlin, and so we need some form of support from them. I mean, so for example, the full Java 22 support will be in 8.8. And for 23, we're already looking at it and checking what we can do to support as much as possible, as early as possible, because we fully understand that folks out there sometimes want to try early access features of the next version. And so, we're trying to give that opportunity to them.
Yeah, so sounds really cool. And thanks a lot for this introduction to Gradle 9. Looking forward to see release candidates and features landing at some point. Anything else you would like to communicate to Gradle users? Some tips or advices?
No, I think at this stage, we're in good shape. I guess one thing that's always useful for us is if you struggle with a topic, you don't find the right documentation for it, let us know. That's something compared to some other bug fixes and feature requests is often easier to move forward with and can really help others that have the same challenges.
Yeah, I can totally support it. So we actually started a few initiatives on improving documentation. You might have seen new feedback form implemented, and this feedback form actually allows you to submit GitHub issues right away. Soon you will be able to also edit, submit pull request. We're also working on velocity for documentation updates, so that every pull request merged, it will show up in the current version every evening. And there are even more initiatives for documentation, etc. So any contributions there are welcome, and any reports are welcome too.
Yep.
So thanks a lot for overview, and
Thanks for having me.
all the best with your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, and
See
bye.
you another time. Bye-bye.
Yeah.